It me on YouTube. There it is.
It's almost like it was YouTube itself, not my internet. I'm looking at my internet. My internet's great. It's just like Zoom is like, we're gonna take our sweet ass time.
Just got it on my phone.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
There it is. Yeah. We're going to edit so much of this out at the beginning, or rather I am. Why, hello, and welcome to issue 596 of Geek in the City Radio. My name is Aaron Duran, coming to you live from Grand Admiral Thrawn's flagship, the Chimera.
My name is Beanarita, and I'm coming to you live from the cockpit of the Razor Crest. Din Djarin is gone, but I have one little Grogu over here.
And I am Darth Cable. Coming to you live from the cockpit of the Ghost.
The heck is a Sith Lord doing in the Ghost?
You know, rebels make for strange bedfellows.
That's true. Hi, everyone. How's it going? Having some good nerdy times here now.
It's going good. I'm eating a mandarin. Sorry.
I was trying to pop the chat.
What did you do with the 10 rings?
Wouldn't you like to know?
That's why you're Darth Cable.
It's gonna be that kind of night.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
which is different than any other kind of night.
I mean, I did warn both of you in full disclosure. I had a really good productive day. So around 3:00, I was like, you know what? I'm done. And procured many adult beverages. And then watched Star Wars. So, what else are you going to do?
I didn't watch a single Star Wars today.
Well, here, go buy a Star Wars. Go watch a Star Wars.
I'm watching a Star Wars after we podcast, where I will take in the first episode of The Bad Batch.
Yeah,
I did. After beer number 2 and adult gummy number 3, I had a bag of Doritos, and I thought, I'm gonna watch that new Star Wars.
I like how you sound like you've been totally crossfaded all day.
No, as people know who this show know that like weed does like bupkis for me. I just wasted $18 is what I did. I spent $18 on substandard gummy bears. Like, consistency's fine, but they never taste as good as,
You could have bought a whole bag of like 5 bags of Haribo for that.
Of what?
Haribo. Or Black Forest. Or my personal favorite, Albanese. Take your pick.
I like Haribo. I thought you were about to like taunt me for not just buying booze with it. So I was like, what drink is Haribo?
I'm not making fun of you necessarily. Just flexing my gummy bear knowledge muscle.
That's fair. That's good.
All 3 of the gummy bears I know.
The chat's already jumping. This is very charming. Bex just said my kids woke me up at 7:30 a.m. to put on the Bad Batch for them. Bex, you have a couple of amazing daughters. And my head just went away. There you go.
That is how I was going to start my day, but then I realized I had a bunch of stuff to do. So,
well, you got all the night. You watch some Star Wars at night.
I do. I'll watch it after this.
And I was at work.
Fantastic. And really, when I watched Star Wars today, I think I just jumped around to some of my favorite battle scenes in all the movies. I kind of forgot how much the opening to Revenge of the Sith kind of pops. It's like the Williams score opens with that boom, 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 and it's just Anakin and Obi-Wan flying.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of when Ewan McGregor's at peak Obi-Wan, because he does nothing but complain while he's flying. He's like, oh yes, this would be a good idea, Anakin. And he's like, flying's for droids. Like all he does is complain the entire time of the opening.
He really
hates
great.
Flying. But even at the end, when they land like half the fucking separatist cruiser on Coruscant, like Ewan McGregor we talked about this before, he just fucking killed it in the prequels. That part when they like land and like Palpatine's going all like, and Anakin looks all freaked out. Ian McGregor just moves his hair and says, "Another happy landing."
Any
He's
landing
so
you can
good.
walk away from.
Yeah, he's so good. And every time I watch it now, I just hear Cable in my head. Because spoilers, if you say hi Cable in the right tone, he'll reply with General Kenobi.
It's largely because at work, the greeting that I give everyone who walks in the building is, "Hello there."
Hello there.
And so far, over a period of about 8 months, I have only ever had one person walk up and go, "General Kenobi."
I didn't do it?
You don't count. Complete strangers.
Oh, man. It's like my sophomore year all over again, where all my friends were girls and their parents were like, "No boys over." And they said, "What about Aaron?" And they'd say, "He doesn't count. He doesn't count. He
Aw.
doesn't count." Oh, yeah. That's fine.
But this is different. You don't count because you're guaranteed to respond to a nerdy thing with another with the corresponding nerdy thing.
Yes, because that's all we do.
That's a free token, is what that is.
Yeah, we talk in nerd quotes.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And then and to be fair, usually when Cable says that to me, the first thing I do is giggle. Oh, General Kenobi! Like it makes me laugh every time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So if folks are wondering, this is kind of all we're going to do on the show today, because
stick around.
There were like a fuck ton of nerd drops in the last 48 hours.
Oh my God.
We can do now a spoiler review of Mortal Kombat, since both Cable and Bean have saw it.
Mm-hmm.
God, what else? Like Marvel released their thanks for joining us.
Their next 2 years.
We miss you, and they fucking opened with Stan Lee. Make so like Marvel Studios is like, where's your emotion? Ugh! And play.
And then just keep digging. Just keep digging.
Just keep fucking digging.
With all of the announcements that go with it.
That's your brother. Look to your right. That's your sister. I'm like, fuck you, Stan Lee. Also, thank you, Stan Lee. And then we've got, the Star Wars Day stuff, which you'd think after every year there would be less and less that they would premiere, but that proved that was not true today.
Yeah.
Cable has some random magic news about a white rapper ruining yet another thing I love. No, sorry.
I don't think he's going to ruin it. I
don't either. I just don't
we'll
like
talk.
Him. Yeah.
Mixed feelings. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, that's good.
There's also some news out of, the distinguished competition in the comics realm.
Mm-hmm.
Did I miss that one?
DC. Yeah.
I know. I'm trying to think. Did we talk about that before?
Yeah.
Or are you going to surprise me?
I posted links.
Oh, so I went from writing intently to then drinking intently. I have, as you guys noticed, I didn't really respond to comments that much.
That's fine.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Behind the Scenes about how Geek in the City of Radio works. Around 10 a.m. every Tuesday, we go, what are we doing? I don't know. Were we going to have Greg and Ida on to do building character? Well, we were, but Aaron fucked it up. So let's think of something else to do.
I want to point out that for once, I actually did the homework. I actually took time out of the day. I was like, I am going to go over the things that we're going to talk about today, so I know what the fuck we're talking about.
Yay.
And now this.
I sort of have done the same thing, although I do that over the course of a few days beforehand, because otherwise I'm not going to get to it on the day.
I used to do it in the days leading up to showtime, but I don't have a job technically, so
that will do that.
I have all of the day of to put it in my brain, at least for now.
Well, what do we want?
You've got something coming up.
Yeah,
right?
I should get things in writing tomorrow.
Excellent.
Right, we're not going to say anything till they're in writing then.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Except that once again, this show has greatly improved your life. You're welcome. And by this show, I mean me.
Approved.
I think there's really good potential here.
No, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure I'll talk about it more once it happens. But
Yeah.
I don't want to be
Before-
preemptive, and I don't want to jinx anything. So
That's fair. Before we roll into topics, I wanted to give the two of you a public thank you for making the new RPG that I am running that much more enjoyable.
yay!
It's very fun. I had a good time.
I didn't realize until I was reading up on it later that the system that Usagi uses is powered by the apocalypse.
I thought it had something familiar to it.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
So
it's a fun system because it's very story driven.
Which, based on the people that are playing, it's perfect. It is absolutely perfect for that. Like all of you are storytellers, all of you like playing characters. We don't get mired down in minutia, that's totally fine.
Right. By the way, my USPS app told me that my iron pipe arrived today.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Kisero.
So I have a better prop now when we play. Yeah.
Nice. Oh no, I want to do costume stuff. Like we had our Star Wars game the other night, and Jesse wore his Volante jacket. At least I assume it's a Volante because it definitely looks like their design.
Star Trek game. I'm like, wait, you're in a Star Wars game and you haven't told us?
No, I'm not in any Star Wars games. Well, so far.
I do have Star Wars RPG. I would totally run one. Oh, the nerdy Trek game that we run.
Yes, our Trek game. I don't know if my brain has any more room for any more RPGs because there's so many characters to put and keep in my brain. And I was telling Cable this the other day. I'm like, this is the most homework I've ever done to play an RPG.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
You know what it is? It's not your fault. It's that it's an era in a place of the world that I'm not familiar with because it's not as prominent as Western culture stuff is. Like, am I any more familiar with like ancient, like medieval times, Western medieval times? Not personally, of course, but it's there in the ether all the time. So you don't really have to think that hard to figure out a character that fits into the more traditionally thought of RPG type games,
right?
The Western stuff.
Makes total sense.
Because this is Japanese centric and it's from the feudal era. There's a lot less that's in the ether about that for me to just automatically pull from. I have to actually look it up and spend some time thinking about it. It doesn't come firsthand.
Yeah.
Which I totally get. And I'm like, oh yeah, right. That's exactly what I went through. Granted, like 30, 40 years ago when I started delving into this.
Well, yeah, sure. Although I think I commented online about how much I was enjoying your game and showing my Hero Forge version of my character. But then I added on to it. I was like, not only is it a fun game with a good GM and great players, I said, but the GM he's a Japanese American man, and like interspersed between like action and character interaction, he's like dropping little facts about feudal Japanese history and feudal culture, and I'm like, I gotta write this shit down. I'm getting a little bit of knowledge while I'm nerding out too. It's kind of cool.
I usually have a notebook for each of my games, and I have run out because of all the games that I've been in and out of in the past year. And so I don't have like a backlog of blank notebooks. And it occurs to me that I might actually end up going to typing for this game because I can keep up so much faster that way.
It's not a bad idea.
There is a lot going on.
And it's also why I've been like putting a lot of these little tidbits in digital format so it's easy for us to grab and read through.
Yeah, that's handy. Yeah, so if people know of like good note keeping apps or tools, I don't want to just use like a Word document or whatever. It'd be nice to be able to like break stuff up into chapters and like reference notes versus keeping up with the story, because that's essentially what I do is I just write down like the key points of whatever the storyline is, and then I'll drop in and then we fight.
Right. Also in the chat, I can't tell if Norm is judging the Trek game or not, but we should probably move on. Otherwise, May the 4th will just be talking about Star Trek, which would be hilarious.
Yes.
Technically, we haven't talked about Star Trek, but let's move on.
Okay.
So what do we want to start with? Do we want to start with Mortal Kombat, or do we want to start with all the little tidbits?
Maybe start with Mortal Kombat, and that one, because I think when we get to tidbits, that's going to be just tangent supreme.
Yep.
Makes sense.
So
also, something is happening where I'm at, so I am going to mute myself and see what's going on and let you guys go. I think everything will be okay though. So,
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Alrighty.
Oh, okay. Where to begin?
So, So you watched it Friday night? I think you were watching it Friday night and we were watching it Friday night because we were like texting in between one another going, "Oh, we just watched the thing." So if you still haven't seen Mortal Kombat yet, you may want to skip this part. Aaron, I think, gave a great spoiler-free setup review last week where he talked about how it's just fun. It's goofy. It doesn't take itself too seriously while taking itself seriously. And I found that's exactly what the movie was. I think I only found myself disagreeing with both his assessment and a lot of other people's assessment, where it's like, yeah, the first half is really good, but it's that last act where, things don't line up right because they were trying to do too much. And I'm like, I didn't get that at all. I think that they set up everything exactly the way they meant to.
I would agree with you. The ending doesn't, or I should say the very beginnings, the very first scene in the movie serves no purpose if the last act of the film doesn't play out the way it does.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's like, what was the point of that,
I think the thing that people were reacting to is it's Mortal Kombat. And so they set up, here are all the players, here's showing all of their skills, here's their training montage, and then we do the tournament. And the whole point, the thesis of the movie is the movie was not about the tournament. No. We were never going to get the tournament because Shang Tsung was cheating.
Mm-hmm.
He was trying to kill everybody off before they even made it to the tournament level. And that's what people were reacting to. It's like, yeah, they did all this setup for the tournament and then they didn't do the tournament. They just kind of rushed a fight scene. It's like, no, they hit every note because they weren't doing a tournament at all.
No, the whole premise is these guys are cheating, and if we let them do it their way, fucking like they're gonna take over our world or whatever it was. And then that added like backstory for the characters and their feud feels like a weird way of putting it.
Yeah, but I think that's accurate.
Which was interesting. I think it was a little not forced, but this is what Aaron kind of alluded to last week, is like there's this character that exists in the movie. He's not part of the game, but he ties into, the Sub-Zero Scorpion feud and sort of like explains that a little bit. That's the part that I felt was a little bit underdone, I think is the word. So they established that there's a connection between, oh my God, what even is his name? The main character, essentially.
Cole Young.
They sort of establish that there is a connection there biologically, and that's why he's chosen. But then there's never really any interaction, hardly, between Cole and Scorpion. Hashasi?
It's Hanzo Hayashi.
Hanzo Hayashi, thank you. They have this cool fight scene, and it's still playing in the background right now. I was replaying it today. They have a really cool 3-way fight, and that kind of shows like obviously they can work together naturally. Like out of the blue, they can fight this guy together, and it works great. But in terms of like giving the characters a personality, or
Right.
like actually connecting those two characters as people. They didn't
Mhm.
really do any of that. So it's just that biological connection. And then Scorpion shows up, he's in, he's out, saves the day a little bit, and moves on.
It's also weird to see the evolution of Mortal Kombat where Scorpion has become more of a hero character when he clearly wasn't meant to be. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It's when they created that mythology between Sub-Zero and Scorpion that for some reason Sub-Zero became the bad one. It's interesting.
Originally they were still enemies in the original Mortal Kombat. They just it didn't matter because they both had to work for Shang Tsung.
Yeah, that's what was it. Yeah, they couldn't stand each other, but yeah, they were under control of Shang Tsung. So
along
whatever.
with Reptile, the half mask crew.
Right, not counting Noob Saibot, who was a hidden character.
Right.
Which one was that?
Noob Saibot was basically a silhouette version of Reptile, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, and he had a mishmash of their powers.
Oh yeah.
It was the joke character created by like the programmers after the guys who created the vein, Ed Boon and blah 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 Tobias. I think Noob Saibot is you could activate if you hit the right button when this guy came up and went toasty.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Toasty.
Is that where that came from?
I remember when Mortal
Kombat 2 is the word toasty. No, 3. 2 or 3.
It's something I didn't hear about or hear for a long, long time, and then one day it was all over the place, and I'm like, "What is that?"
That's kind of how it started. Yeah.
What's funny is we were looking up like when Mortal Kombat came out versus when the movie came out, because the movie came out in 95, I think. And the original,
about right, yeah.
The original game was in 92, 93. The console.
That seems about right.
Or not the console, but the cabinet.
Yeah.
The cabinet.
Yeah.
Because Aaron, you remember Tilt at the Lloyd Center up by the theaters on the 3rd floor?
I do, but they would have been on Mortal Kombat 3 by then.
True.
Or Mortal Kombat X, even the arcade version.
Oh Jesus!
I started working at Lloyd in early 2001. So whatever version of MK they'd have been on then.
So you started working there like 10 years after I had started working. Yeah, I worked there from 91 to 93.
The town I grew up in had this short-lived business for almost 2 years called the Susanville Family Fun Center. It was run by a guy who literally looked just like Harry Knowles from Ain't It Cool News, like early Harry Knowles, but a legit nice guy. Not creepy, not sexist, not all the things that come with Harry Knowles, allegedly, since it's never been, covered my ass here. He had a building. He's one of those people that had a little bit of money coming into it, and he just basically bought an entire building in uptown Susanville, and the whole bottom floor, the whole main floor was, he created, like, we used to have LAN parties there. He bought a fuck ton of gaming PCs. This is right around the era of like Doom 2 or TIE Fighter. Remember that one, which is still a fantastic game.
Yes, I do.
And he would link all the computers up if you wanted. I think I played the very first fucking Elder Scrolls there. But he had like 5 pinball machines and then a bunch of, like arcades. And he had all the Mortal Kombats. It also had like a little soda fountain that was really cool. And my earliest Magic tournaments happened at this place.
So this place was literally the merging of ground control and backspace.
Yeah. With some Guardian thrown in because it had magic.
Jesus.
That sounds like a magical wonderland.
We used because this is before there was official Wizard of the Coast tournaments. We would just hold up our own tournaments.
Sure.
We just do it. But we had this rule. So the guy that owned this place, anytime someone showed up, if you had It's an old magic card. I think it's just called Wood Sprites. It's one forest to bring them out. They're 1/1. There's nothing special about them. He used to buy any of them from people if you wanted to sell it to him. The reason being is that when they would have a tournament, if you were the first person knocked out, you had to have the Wood Sprite shake, which meant he would put 20 magic cards in a blender with milk and mint chocolate chip ice cream and then and blend it. And if you drank it, he would refund your entrance into the tournament.
A lot of kids drank that, didn't they?
I drank it like twice. I used to really suck at magic back in the day. But Cabo, you'll dig this. Well, Beanwell too. The other thing he used to do. So this building had a massive basement because this town is an old logging town and there's like entrances underground and shit. He would rent out his entire. He would not rent it out. He would give his entire basement to whoever wanted to put on a haunted house because they had an exterior entrance. Yep. Basically, he was like, "I want 10% of your profit. That's your rent for my entire basement. You have full access to my bathrooms." My power, everything. It was cool, man.
It feels unheard of.
Yeah, and then he owned the top 2 floors had 4 apartments each, and even for the years that I lived in that town, or like when he had done that, they were still easily 20% below local market because he wanted people that like just got out of high school, didn't know what they wanted to do, to have a place to live if they wanted to get out of their shitty house, above a video game. You know, above an arcade. How fucking cool is that? I know he's an aberration in this country.
Yeah.
See, that's
and to prove that, he went bankrupt last I heard, and I don't know how well he's doing anymore.
Well, that's too bad, because that is the exact type of model of what small business owners and capitalists should be like.
Yeah. And honestly, I think he had bankruptcy because he had other things happen to him.
Sure.
Not legally bad, just bad things happen. Yeah.
Yeah, usually if you're doing that well in one part of life, something else is off in the balance.
Yeah. I remember there being a very specific medical history with his family. So
That's
sorry, I just side railed the fuck out of this show right now.
That's quite all right.
I mean, you did, but
sorry.
I mean, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, you know,
Jesus,
I don't really
Mortal Kombat.
There's not a ton to say. I don't feel like it just is a fun action movie. They've given a little bit more life to some of these characters, at least to like to my knowledge, someone who hasn't played Mortal Kombat since the 90s. And I probably saw the early Mortal Kombat movies, maybe just the first one. Couldn't tell you what happens.
They fight.
Right.
Besides the fighting.
Christopher Lambert chews scenery. That's pretty much
he
it.
really does. It's a horrible casting, but he just does
he
the
plays
best
up.
with it.
He's great, but
yeah, he does.
It still should not have ever like Raiden is not a white man.
Well, we were talking earlier
with a French accent.
Can you call that accent French? Is that what that is? I know he's French.
It's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but
he's actually from France.
I know. His accent is just so weird.
Do you think he has played so many non-French people that he's ruined his own accent in real life?
Yeah, I think he just has a weird accent.
Okay. It's kind of funny.
Bex points out that the original 1995 Mortal Kombat is also on HBO Max this month because someone at HBO Max understands synergy.
Yeah, they do.
I said, no, I don't think you can ruin your own accent. I just saw Toni Collette in a movie where she uses her Australian, like her natural Australian accent. Totally fine. Forgot she was even Australian after 20 years.
I don't think I ever knew that.
I
Yeah.
actually had no like Cable. I didn't know she was Australian.
Yeah.
I thought
oh,
she was British.
No, she's Australian. Because the first thing I ever saw her in was this this Australian movie called Muriel's Wedding. It is a
I
dark
thought
comedy and not for children. And I was a child. And
I-
it's,
So first
I've
off,
never
Muriel's
watched it.
Wedding is great. Second off, I thought she was doing an Australian accent for Muriel's Wedding. I didn't know it was because she was Australian.
she's totally
Yeah, I
Australian.
don't think-
Watch, now I'm going to double check and I'm going to be wrong.
It
And
was,
Muriel's Wedding's great.
Yes, she is an Australian actress.
I don't think I realized that she was putting on an American accent until like the second or third movie that I saw her in where she was speaking. I'm like, wait a minute, she's not an American.
Not right
I don't-
here.
I don't know where she's from, but that's an American accent that she is affecting.
Yeah, I long
Mm.
ago forgot that she was Australian, and then the movie was Stowaway, by the way, which is on HBO, I think. It's
Hmm.
good. It's a sci-fi. Yay! Yeah, she's like first scene. There she is. She's talking, and she sounds Australian, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's right!"
Crazy.
I don't know if you can have your mind blown by a fact you already knew but forgot, but that's what happened.
That seems reasonable.
I mean, it's probably happened to me and I didn't realize it, so
I think the
I'll
last,
allow it.
I think the last thing I saw her in was Knives Out.
That's probably.
God, I
the
love
same
that movie
for
so
me.
much.
It's so good.
There's another one coming out, right?
Yes.
He's yes, because Netflix paid him, I want to say like $100 million to create a universe around that character,
Benoit Blanc.
Benoit Blanc. They basically want their version of Hercule Poirot with Benoit Blanc. Through, I think Ryan Johnson has to give them 3 movies in the Benoit Blanc universe. Which, okay,
Cool.
why
Do
not?
it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Knowing full well that that means Daniel Craig for all of those movies, plus any of the other people that are happy to work for Ryan Johnson.
I mean,
I mean, who wouldn't be? First off, Daniel Craig's gonna love it because he's fucking done with Bond.
mm,
If he can roll right into Benoit Blanc, he still gets to be suave, but without any of the physicality. None of it. Comparatively.
oh, looks like maybe nobody knew Tony Collette was Australian because now the chat is.
See?
Well, like I said,
And by
obviously
the
it's
chat,
not
I
like
mean
a.
Norm.
So far, there could be others.
Well, I keep forgetting we have this live versus top. I got to change stuff. Whoa.
Oh yeah.
Anyway.
Always switch it to live.
I still had no idea until last week.
Was that
was the
always
thing.
a thing?
Yes.
Then
It's
how come
always been
neither
there.
of us knew about it before last week?
Don't ask why.
I don't know.
Don't ask what Cable knows such things. Just appreciate that he deems us worthy to have but a fraction of his knowledge.
Yeah, Knives Out 2 and Knives Out 3 are on Daniel Craig's IMDb page. Knives Out 2 is scheduled for 2022.
Man,
Fantastic.
his accent's so good on that. Speaking of accents,
Oh, Jesus, I love it. I love it so much.
I love it.
Are we officially done with Mortal Kombat?
I think so.
I think we might be.
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to the sequel. I think it'll be great.
Oh yeah, and there's
because-
totally gonna be.
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
The part that you missed that we were talking about is that you had mentioned last week, and I saw other people say this, that it's like, yeah, the first 2/3 of the movie are great, but that last third, like they just, they don't pay off. And it's like, oh, because that's because everyone was expecting the tournament. You were never getting the actual Mortal Kombat tournament in this movie. And they say
Yeah.
that at the beginning. That was
That's
never
true.
what this movie was about. Mortal Kombat 2 is going to be the actual tournament.
I mean, I do think that the story works a little bit better through the first 2/3.
Sure.
Then it kind of falls apart because the last third is just fight.
Which is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
like,
no, Mortal Kombat 2 is where we get the
Well,
Yeah.
it's the essential. It's the top fight of the movie.
and it's also, I think it's like we all remembered Goro, Prince Goro from the first one, where he's in a lot of the movie, and he has a speaking role, and
Yeah.
like him being
he's a
part of
puppet.
it, they play up a lot. And so when his fight with Johnny Cage finally comes, it's a big thing. This is, they just introduce him, and Cole Young eviscerates him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that I was not expecting him to be a one and done fight.
I didn't actually either. I thought he was gonna be saved at least for the second movie.
No,
I knew he was gonna be in it, but in terms of his big fight.
Yeah, instead it was,
I mean,
oh no, they fucking killed him.
that fight scene is missing a classic splits and punch Goro in the dick. The fight move that was one of the very first memes ever. I think there was actually a song called "Punch Him in the Dick."
That's funny.
There is a scene at the beginning when, and I'm going to forget their names again. Sub-Zero before he's Sub-Zero. And Scorpion before he becomes Scorpion.
Oh.
They're fighting, and Scorpion punches. At least it looks like it. I rewound it even, and I'm like, that looked like a dick punch.
A good move.
It did not keep him from getting killed. So there's that. But
It's because he's from a powerful ninja clan. Although I don't know if you guys just talked about that when I stepped away, but I really kind of want Cable's thoughts. Well, and Beans too. What were your thoughts when, now that you watched the movie and you saw those two characters in the flashback bounce between Chinese and Japanese? Did it work, or did you have to really know the character of Sub-Zero and Scorpion, knowing that they were like their clans go so far back that they start in China, but they both go to Japan? It was interesting to me, but I don't know if it worked.
Hanzo was not from China.
I thought that was the background, though.
Not
him, but like his clan goes back that far.
I think the history of that clan goes back that far, but they, I looked at it as the long-standing fuck you, no fuck you feud between China and Japan.
Okay, that's fair.
Without getting into too much, like every Asian country was colonized by the original Chinese.
Yeah.
That includes Japan, that includes Korea, that includes like all of those Asian nations. Because all of those nations also had Aboriginal people that,
right,
got killed off or at least pushed to the margins. Japan is no different. That's the entire northern island is where the Ainu were from.
Mm-hmm.
And they're Aboriginal Japanese. They do not look like traditional mainland Japanese, who are very pale-skinned, dark hair.
Yeah, and they're not. They're very Pacific
dark-skinned.
Islander. Their flesh tone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think it worked well having Sub-Zero be from China and having Scorpion be from Japan, because it does. All it does is fuel that, or it takes place in something that's very real and very part of the history of those countries. Like, Japan tried to invade and colonize every fucking Asian nation. Like they are the England of Asia.
It's true. It is true.
Let's not actively know that.
They're
fucking awful.
There's kind of a reason why a lot of those Asian area countries, when they're like, well, what do we work with Japan? They go, they got long memories. Yeah, Japan had a history of invading.
Like, it's not that, like, shit. What they did during World War II is not that far back.
It's true. Yeah.
Like, yes, America should not have interned Japanese American citizens, 100%. Japan should not have committed war atrocities against Chinese people in their labor and prison camps. And they did. Like, to the degree that Mengele would have went, that's a little much.
Oh, wow.
Tone that shit down. Yeah. No, it's
Have you ever watched Ip Man?
it's Star Wars Day, so I don't want to get too serious. But
Yeah, sure.
Just Google Google.
You're gonna say
Nanking.
Nanking? Oh God.
Yeah, just Google the history of Nanking. I'm not even gonna write what it's actually said. Like the term that is connected to Nanking, because it's dark as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to find out how humans can be awful no matter where they are in the world.
Yarp.
But to go back to your original question, if you had not mentioned it before I had watched it, I would not have been very clear on whatever history lies between those two characters.
Yeah,
they didn't explain it that much. I mean, obviously they had beef, but to someone coming in blind, they don't really explain it.
I don't know why I have this weird obsession with that scene. Maybe it's because, for the most part, especially mainstream action movies, they don't take the time in something as simple as captioning foreign languages.
Mm-hmm.
They could have just had those two characters speak and then printed it in English for us to read or whatever. But the movie made a point of adding in Japanese, in Chinese. And I don't know why, but that stuck with me a lot. Maybe because I've never seen a movie bother to do that. Like, and by that I mean it's for a Western audience as a rule. And as a rule, you understand the English accent, the Southern accent, the French accent, the German accent. So they rarely have to add in parentheticals in said language. But we don't get the syntax and sounds of a lot of Asian languages. So normally they just wouldn't put it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll be real kind here and say that 99% of Americans don't know the difference between when they're listening to Japanese and when they're listening to Chinese. I know the difference, but that comes from
and that's kind of why.
That's come from watching both Chinese films and Japanese films, and you can hear the language difference. Korean sounds different from either of those. Mm-hmm. But it's not a Latin-based language, so it's
harder.
All of it just sounds nuts to American audiences.
Just as Latin-based languages sound nuts to them.
Mm-hmm. They're like,
it makes no sense.
It's like they could be speaking German or French or English. It doesn't matter. That all just sounds like mush.
Just like that one episode of MASH with Pat Morita playing poker, and he looks at them and says, "I don't know, y'all look and sound the same to me."
And maybe it's just because I have an ear for it, but I feel like it's not that hard to tell the difference between Korean, Japanese, and Chinese. Do I know what's being said? 99% no, except for like a couple words I've picked up here and there from TV or studying or whatever else. But they do sound different. You don't need to know the language to be able to differentiate between one or another.
I don't know that that's true for everybody.
Yeah, like maybe I have a weird upper hand because I do have a knack for language. So
you have a very good ear for language, Bean.
Mm-hmm. No, I know.
Like I wouldn't be able to differentiate
way to be
between
humble about it.
Cantonese or Mandarin, and those are both Chinese dialects.
I don't feel like I need to be humble about a skill that doesn't get me anywhere in life. So, like pointless.
With languages,
it's a pretty pointless flex.
You want to talk about taking? Well, here's the thing: being good at languages would get you somewhere in life. So you should not be humble about it, as opposed to me who knows a stupid amount of information about Star Trek. Is that going to get me anywhere in life? No. And yet I'm immensely
Actually.
proud of it. Yeah. Sure.
It does for the line of work you're in, or it can get you somewhere given the line of work that you do. I did not actually become a linguist like I wanted to. So the fact that I can tell one language from another just by the sounds doesn't do anything for me.
I like how the show this week is half nerd and half just kvetching about the poor choices we've made in life.
That's okay. It's fine. I came to terms with my poor life choices a long time ago.
Sure.
Oh, thanks for responding to that, Cable. Bex in the chat is saying, like, do we know that Sub-Zero and Goro are really dead? Because Shang said
death is not the end.
Yeah, death is not the end. And so yeah, it kind of implies like, and I mean, he's a cheater. He fucking cheats. So if there's a way to bring back his dead bad guys, he'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is what Shang Tsung does. He traps the souls and then can fight like them.
Meanwhile, we had Kung Lao, and he was the best part of that movie, I think. And Andy's gone.
I mean, technically, we'll see him again because Shang Tsung literally took the soul from him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
although how great was Kung Lao's fatality?
Flawless victory.
That was pretty good.
Everything
he did the which he does in the game.
He did it all the time. He was the best part of that movie for me.
Kung Lao's my second favorite character in the game, so my first being Lord Raiden. I love Raiden. So awesome. Even before Christopher Lambert, I would only play Raiden in the games. Although once in a while, I think around Mortal Kombat 2, I would play Katana. I play Princess Katana.
I always felt compelled to play Cabal because of his name.
Oh, we saw him in the movie. I wasn't expecting Cabal.
He was salty.
I mean, he didn't last long, but
It lasted long enough.
Well, yeah, totally. And then you probably talked about it, but the guy who played Kano is just chewing scenery.
We actually didn't talk about Kano at all.
We didn't get to that, yeah.
Oh my god, he's one of my favorite parts.
I mean,
Kano is more Captain Boomerang than Captain Boomerang was in the Suicide Squad movie.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Mm-hmm.
I think it's because he leaned into. So, what exactly do you want? You want Crocodile Dundee. Only you want Crocodile Dundee saying "fuck" a lot. Is that what you want? Okay.
Yeah.
Done. I can do that.
Yeah, done.
Fuck.
I love whenever he won, even a simple argument, he'd say, Kano wins. Awesome. There it is. We all enjoy.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think to Bean's point about the character of Cole Young, I think he felt thinner as a character because we know everybody else fairly well. Even if you don't play the game regularly, we knew who everybody was.
Yeah.
I think that will be different for the next movie. I think Louis Chan did a fine job. Like he didn't need to be a very deep character. He just needed to be one that could beat the crap out of people.
No. Maybe I misspoke. My problem wasn't with like his character development. It's that they did in fact spend a lot of time like establishing who he is and his family and you know like the struggles that he's had and why that makes him feel like he's not fit for Mortal Kombat. But what bothered me, and it's a kind of a small nag, but what I thought was lacking was that they sort of spoon feed you the connection between him and his ancestor. You know, like the minute they pop out that blade and they're like, yeah, you know, if you carry this blade, your ancestor will fight with you. Like, you know what's going to happen. But person to person, those two characters don't really have a moment together. They fight together, but as two people who are from the same bloodline, I don't know. I think there should have been a little bit more there.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
If they're going to bother with establishing this like dynastic line of, you know, chosen ones, maybe not dynastic, sorry, but yeah, this bloodline is sort of the key, the central part of this film to me. And
Yeah.
it's what brings you from the very beginning to almost the very, very end, like first scene to almost last scene is this bloodline. And to not give those two characters some dialogue together, nothing besides fighting together. Oh, did they talk? No, I can't remember. Like maybe right after the fight, they
But-
have a
They have a few words, but
Mhm.
Have a moment, yeah.
to ape the conversation about what is your love language, their love language is fighting.
kicking ass.
I mean, that is how they communicate their
Okay.
fealty towards one another, is fighting, sharing the same fight, sharing the same enemy.
Right. And to show up, like for your ancestor to show up to fucking help you win a fight, that's pretty dope, I guess.
Mhm.
All right, you've
Pretty
changed my
cool.
mind. Yeah. Love language.
I mean, none of my ancestors will show up to fight. They'll just tell me I'm putting too much salt in it.
What? Too much salt.
That's their love
Yo.
language.
Mio, too much salt in the
Mm.
soba. Woo!
Oh, that reminds me. I gotta soak some beans tonight.
Ooh, black or pinto?
Black. I'm all about black beans.
I know they're better for you.
I think they're tastier.
I keep a bag of pinto and a bag of black, because sometimes you want black beans,
Oh,
sometimes you want
I know,
pinto beans.
Exactly, Cable. I don't
I
just
cannot
have. I'm
remember
not.
the last time I wanted pinto beans or made them for that matter.
Mm.
No, I think you only have them when I make them,
Yep.
and they're delicious because the secret is lard.
Well, I can't do that at my house, so.
I know. That's why you like eat like a rabid chipmunk at mine sometimes.
Meat I didn't have to cook myself. Yeah, at this point, like meat at my house is an afterthought. I'm like, why don't I fucking like roast off these chicken breasts or cook these sausages, whatever. There's no joy in it anymore. It's just more dishes.
It's just survival meat now.
Survival. Fun times.
Star Wars Day.
Star Wars Day.
Yay!
Most of the news that we have is not Star Wars, although there is the one thing.
The one. I guess that's
Yes.
true, huh?
We want to move on to that.
Yeah, because that thing's
Yeah,
cool.
let's just do it now.
That thing is
So the one big, yeah. Well, there were two big things for May the 4th today. A, the debut of the Bad Batch, which we'll talk about next week. And Disney finally showed video of their retractable working lightsaber.
yes.
So you will no longer when Disney eventually sells it, and I guarantee they're going to sell it at Galaxy's Edge first. You'll buy the hilt, and it's gonna, when you hit the button, it's gonna go. You're not gonna have that LED tube
Mhm.
anymore. I'm assuming you can't even like lightly spar with these. I would assume.
I watched a whole thing about it. It's essentially the same technology, or like they based on the 2017 patent that they looked up. The
Mhm.
technology is similar to that of a measuring tape.
That's what I figured.
It rolls up on the inside, but then it expands when you pull it out. So yeah, probably not going to be something that you can like beat each other
Right.
with.
I do want to point out though that nerds have basically come full circle, and that we are back to where it all started, which was measuring tape.
Is that
Sorry,
right?
I'm trying to.
That'd be a little bit more before my time. So
Oh yeah, no, it would have. This is early '80s shit.
Mhm.
Sorry, I'm fading out. I'm recording in the back of the van, and it's sunset.
Mhm.
don't you have little
I figured
covers?
that's what was going on.
The covers are up.
No, you're just part of the force now.
You're becoming a Force ghost, Aaron.
I mean, that's where Ryan's gonna wait for me one day, so it's fine.
Also, It might actually be a while before people can buy these retail, because to
It's going to be a while.
my understanding is the lightsabers are coming out as part of this new Disney Resort Jedi training dojo that they're going to have. So basically, like when you stay at the parks or when you stay at the resorts, it's one of the experiences that you can sign up for.
I could see it starting next year at the Galactic Cruiser Hotel.
That's what it's actually tied into.
There we go.
Okay, that
That's
makes
what
sense because
it says so in the ad. It's tied into the
Okay,
debut of
that's
the
where it's gonna
Galactic
start.
Cruiser in 2022.
Yeah.
that, by the way, is going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm fascinated with that level of immersive experience.
Yeah, that's how I've been with a lot of Disney stuff lately. Is the experiences they're creating.
I think that pandemic protocols have uniquely prepared people to be stuck indoors for a 2 to 3 day period.
I can see that.
Because that's what it's supposed to be, is you're stuck aboard a cruiser.
Yeah, because I think it has.
Earth.
I think it has a 2-night minimum.
Yep, and
or
then,
maximum. I'm sorry.
And then when it lands at Galaxy's Edge, that's when you get to leave the cruiser.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I want that. I haven't even been to Galaxy's Edge.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen more about that being how it's going to break down? So the staff are 100% in character 24/7. But like every window you look out of is a screen. Every single window.
I did hear a little bit about it.
And they will even apparently encourage you to match outfits with the hotel to have a more immersive experience.
So it's just full on Star Trek LARPing.
Star Wars LARPing. Yeah, it's Star Wars LARPing the whole way. Yep.
I am fascinated and terrified by this simultaneously.
I know. Like, I want to be nervous, but I also can't fucking wait to do it.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to be stuck somewhere for 2 days and not be able to go anywhere else. It's like, wait, I've had weekends where I don't leave the house at all.
You're pretty practiced at it at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that you want me to spend 2 days just pretending I'm in Star Wars?
Yeah. I'm not particularly practiced at it, Bean.
Oh no, that's true. You still have to go to work and interact with humans.
Uh-huh. Yeah, my particular pandemic experience is not unique, but it is shared by a particular group of people in the service industry.
As the young, healthy, brave person in my household, I've never actually gone that long of a stretch without leaving my house. Obviously, in the very, very beginning was much better. I'm like, I don't have any needles to do my fucking embroidery with. I'm gonna die. Not die. That is not the appropriate word to use here. But
that's hyperbole.
Yes, it is. But like I can't go out there because people are dying.
I like how the sunlight is now hitting you in such a way that it feels like the starship that you're on is passing by some sun. And so it's, the light creeping in through the cockpit. That's pretty good.
It helps that I'm doing too much moving around. But yeah, I've been out there a lot, actually. Probably too much. But even then, I still have, to date, longer stretches. I'm like, didn't go anywhere for 4 or 5 days.
I think I'd felt better about the entire thing if 80% of the population had an average of, I stay home for 5 days, I go out for 1, I stay home for 5 days. As opposed to, oh man, I've been home for like 6 hours, I need to go do something.
No, I got to the point where I would just like push all of my stuff to one day. And I don't know if that's necessarily better, is to like go to all of the different places you needed or wanted to go to and only leave the house that one day, but go to a lot of places versus like spreading it out more. I don't know. But staying the
Yep.
fuck away from people whenever you get to where you're going, also really vital.
Which also makes this the concept of this space cruiser a little daunting. It's like, I'm glad you have it scheduled for 2022. Let's see how it looks when we're there. But
Yeah.
all of those things aside, I'm not a big Disney person. Like, I'm not big on theme parks. But this is an experience that would be fun to like save up and go do. Because I think it's like, oh, this would be fun. Like, I put it in the same category as like making the trip to LA to go do all of the haunts at the various theme parks. It's like, I'm not there for the theme park. I'm there for the haunts. But you know, you still get a little bit of the theme park experience that way too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wouldn't consider that what I've seen at Universal Studios is I've done the whole Universal Studios tour. I've been to a bunch of haunted houses at Universal Studios. Though not last year, but 2019, I did get to go through the Harry Potter stuff, which was fun.
I never made it to any Harry Potter stuff besides the Wizards Unite event that I followed Merrick along. That was I think it was also 2019.
That may have been.
Yeah. Yes. Sorry. I just jumped in. Yes, it was.
Oh yeah, because that's when I was like, you know what? I'm home alone anyway. I'm just gonna fucking go on a trip by myself. Why not? And then never again since.
Then no one ever went anywhere ever again.
Ever again. And now I'm not going to. Was the end point of that.
I do think that what Disney has planned for Star Wars, their theme parks, is going to be worth checking out. Like, I like Star Wars. I like watching Star Wars, but I've never been compelled to go to Galaxy's Edge, but enough of people I've known have gone there and I've seen enough of it. It's like, you know, I think that would be enjoyable to at least walk through.
Even if you're not a huge Star Wars fan, if you're into full immersion of like pulling your attendee into a world. I haven't been anywhere that's done it better than Galaxy's Edge. Like, there are times, especially at night, something about when it's at night, it makes you, part of it is that you'll see like satellites literally in orbit or like high altitude planes. And while you're hearing on the sound effects of shuttles landing and droids beeping because it's a living, cargo town, just something just kind of goes, yeah, okay, no, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing.
I think there's an episode to be had at a later date where we talk about theme parks and immersive theme parks at length, and like do a little cross contamination with talking about Westworld.
Ooh.
Maybe we but on full disclosure, haven't seen a single episode.
Matthew and I just started season 3 yesterday.
How do you like it so far? I haven't.
You haven't watched season 3 yet?
No.
Where did you?
I had a gap. I watched season 1 and season 2, but then I had a gap in HBO access. I think. No, never mind. I don't remember why, but I went a while without having HBO, and so season 3 came out. Cool, and then eventually I signed up for HBO again. But at that point, season 3 was old news, and I just haven't like mentally put myself back in there.
You may need to, since they will be coming out with season 4.
Okay, but so far you're enjoying it?
Oh yeah, it's very cyberpunk. It's very unnerving.
That's the vibe that they gave from the teasers and trailers beforehand, and I was excited.
One of the pieces of technology in season 3 is something that I keep seeing There are ads for on Facebook for AI friends, where you can download an app and design your own AI
I have
friends.
I have seen friends like post screen caps of that. I have yet to receive that ad.
Oh, I've received 2 different apps for the same type of product. You're talking about the one that Ken shared. That's one of them. Replicant.
Oh yeah, Ken Brady. Yeah.
That's cool. I haven't seen ads like this at all. You know what I'm getting a lot of ads for? Non-alcoholic elixirs and such.
Hey, me too. That and diet plans.
Back to back ads for alcohol-free cocktail mixers and stuff. I'm like,
what the hell are you two saying around your phones?
Here's the thing. I actually know why. That's the one Ken shared.
Oh, creepy.
Yep.
Bean, I know why you're getting that, because I actually talked with someone and made a little freelance helping them create a campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, because Facebook owns Instagram, if there's any kind of post that has anything, even moderately to do with drinking, any kind of post, anything, they grab that and they just hit you with the non-alcoholic stuff.
Yeah, you have to, with Facebook these days, you really have to follow. The best thing to do is, if you have like 3 hours to kill, wait for an ad to pop up, go into the settings, say, please hide this ad, and then it'll go, would you like to do your work on your other ad settings? Go in there and then find it.
Yeah.
You will discover every ad and every company that has attached itself to your profile, and you have to remove them manually.
Okay. And see, the only thing I ever do is I'll block an ad because, and I always say it's irrelevant.
Yeah, that is not. It's actually not enough, and it's fascinating to look at it, because then you see it's like, oh, this is why the algorithm has me in this certain loop, is because someone has paid them for my information.
It's funny. Actually, it's funny. Even though it's the same company, I actually don't mind the Instagram so much.
I don't either, because they're a lot more dialed into something that I'm interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, with mine, it's either like witch stuff, brewing, or role playing adjacent. Sometimes a combination of all three, and I'm like, why yes, well done, algorithm.
For me, it's a lot of clothing and shoes.
I had a way cut back. I actively stopped looking for shoes. Like I would, I actually will use Google's incognito, because not for much for shoes with me, but bags, like backpacks, shoulder packs. Because you guys both know my obsession with those.
Oh, yeah.
I was getting
emails. It from me, actually. I think it rubbed off on you.
I probably did,
because you didn't used to be.
I know. I got my shoe thing from my sister-in-law Laura. I got my bag thing from Bean. I just pick up all the worst, best habits from my friends.
Sorry, not sorry.
So we covered Disney?
Yeah, well, we've covered the Star Wars part of Disney. The other thing that Disney did.
Let us now go to Disney adjacent and slip into the 616.
Yeah. So did you do the same thing as everyone else did? As Monday morning, you scroll through Twitter and go, huh, what's this? And then you click on this 3-minute long video and like, oh, I didn't realize I was going to be crying on the bus this morning.
Yeah, I don't even remember what it was. It was like, I think I clicked on a news story that was like, Disney releases, dates for the next 5 movies. I'm like, oh, I'll click on that. I was like, what? Like, yeah, I clicked on it. I'm like, why am I hearing Stan Lee talk about family and brothers and sisters? Oh my God.
Oh, it goes on forever too. I'm like, oh, what's happening? And I was eating really hot and only mildly, but very, very boiling hot ramen while I was watching it today. I was like,
like it was, and it's not just that. It's like all the other moments.
Yeah.
Like the original VR Groot. I'm like, oh, okay, that hurt. And it was also when I realized Sam saying "on your left" will get me every time.
I love it.
Every time. Just because it's that moment that he says it, the fact that it's a reference, and then the look on Steve's face when hope actually renews. It's like,
Yeah.
oh. It's like that was the second you went, yep, Thanos just lost.
Oh yeah, Thanos is screwed.
Mm.
Sorry, I'm thinking of Winter Soldier because I love all of Sam's reactions. On your left. Really? But the fourth time when Cap's coming up, he goes, "Don't say it! Don't say it! Don't say it!" On your left.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I know
It's like
I didn't say this
take
on
a
the
lap.
show.
You just did it, didn't you?
Did you take
do
a lap?
another lap.
Yeah. Do another lap.
Did you do it again? I blinked.
So I know I texted both of you this, but I don't know if I've said it on the show yet. When you go back and watch the last episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier, at the very end, basically the boat party, everyone who takes a selfie with Sam is on his left, or they're on his left now. Or he's on their left. He's on their left. Yeah.
You did mention.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did send that in test. You didn't mention it on the show.
That's what I thought. Yeah. No, it's just one of those moments where you're like, oh, well done, filmmakers paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
But this all leads up to the fact that, like, not only did like Marvel hit us in all the feels when we need it, they gave us some, they gave us a longer section of Black Widow,
a little more Shang-Chi,
and then we got footage from the fucking Eternals.
Yes,
which I also forgot was this year. In my brain, it's just, it's Black Widow, and then they'll get to everything else next year. It all got bumped.
No, it's 4 movies a year.
Yeah, it's madness.
Because it's not, it's May is Black Widow, September is Shang-Chi, and yes, the November is the Eternals, but Spider-Man is December.
I know, man.
And then
Merry Spidey Christmas.
We have 2 months off, and then Doctor Strange in March, Love and Thunder in May or June. Yeah.
May.
There's one in May and one in June, I think.
July. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is July. The Marvels, not Captain Marvel 2, the Marvels is
they accidentally, a paparazzi person got a picture of the actress playing Kamala Harris, Jesus, Kamala Khan. That's funny. They showed her in the costume, and I was like, cool.
Costume was great.
Yeah.
That was a paparazzi photo?
I need to find that.
I think it was actually an official release. There was a paparazzi one, but I think the official release followed like hours later.
Yeah, of course they did, because they went. I think they're always prepared to do that. It's like, paparazzi got this. Cool. Read a press release. Get it out today.
Give them the real one. Yeah.
I want to see it on TMZ in an hour.
If watching The West Wing has taught me anything, it's that is how you react.
Mm-hmm. But
that and walk and talk.
Yep. And then of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
That's a fun title, and I am excited.
Yeah, I dig it.
There are theories on the new introduction of the Fantastic Four into this universe, where they're going to deviate from we go to space and there are cosmic rays, to, oh no, Reed Richards and his crew went into the quantum realm, in 1987, and haven't been heard from since.
Never heard from since. Yeah, I think that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get the Fantastic Four, Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm gonna say that now. That's my prediction. That's gonna be the introduction of Reed Richards and crew.
Yeah. I actually saw someone write a pretty decent background is that with the Fantastic Four, they're leading up to basically their next big bad. Like this year and like half of next year's movies are all kind of standalone Marvel movies, but they're going to want to start building to the next event. And the thought being is like, you start to give hints of like, not the big bad or not the big good, you start to give hints about basically they're like you have satellite imagery, you have all this weird stuff, all start to pick up this silver object coming to Earth at speeds beyond imagine.
Mhm.
And they're like, basically, you treat it like a Build-A-Figure in toys. Every release, you get a little bit more of that Silver Surfer. And and eventually he arrives and says, I am the Herald of Galactus.
Mhm.
And then there you go. You just set up your next big bad.
And then that will be the Fantastic Four movie, which I really love that they didn't say when it was. They just teased the four.
I loved it, man. I just love that. So good. So fun. Perfect. Yeah.
The only thing that was missing from that is the date for Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Cap number 4.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
But
it's going to be there, but
I
there's
think
not
that's
even a
because
script
they
yet.
just finished inking that deal like weeks ago, which
Yeah,
was not
yeah.
enough time to put that in that trailer.
Yeah, there's probably an outline. There's not even a script yet.
No.
Yeah.
Because they've got a lot to live up to after what they pulled off with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on. Those statements imply that you don't feel like there was always going to be a movie that was Sam and Bucky. Or at least heavily featuring Sam and Bucky.
No, I actually didn't think there was going to be any more Captain America movies.
I didn't either. And these Marvel films are planned out like 5 years in advance.
Sure. But like, why else would they have wanted to make the Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV show?
I think once they decided to make Falcon and Winter Soldier, there was going to be a Cap for. I did think that. But right after Endgame, I didn't think we're going to get another Cap for a long time. Even with that, even with the hint of the Shield, I thought they were just going to give the concept of Captain America a rest for a while.
They didn't give us any indication that they were going to continue on, even if they knew well in advance. It's like, well, we're going to do this, and then that, depending on how that works, then we'll want to do this, and then we'll want to do this. Like, they already knew there was going to be a Cap 4. But they haven't given
by hook or by crook,
anything.
there was going to be one.
Yeah, but they weren't going to give. They have not given us any of that information to think that.
Right.
Sure.
Just like they didn't give us any information that WandaVision was going to be as great as it was. It was just going to be this weird show. It's like, why are they doing this weird Scarlet Witch Vision TV show? Oh, that's
right.
And why is it retro? What's that about?
Yeah.
I actually got a message like 3 or 4 weeks into the series really beginning to air, and asking like, is it always going to be this weird, 50s themed situation? I'm like, oh, how much time do you have?
Right.
Because
So,
you need about 9 hours.
no, so that's fair. Like Disney might know, a decade in advance. We're going to do this, but they're only giving us 2 years worth of heads up at a time.
Yeah, I think Kevin Feige definitely knows.
Or at least he knows what he wants to do.
Yeah, that dude's really playing that long game for sure.
When he's done, I think he should be done. Like after he's all done doing whatever he wants to do with the Marvel Universe on screen, he should go, and I'm out. I'm just going to take all my money and retire. Because it is never going to be better than this.
At the pace they're going, unless they want to start getting weird, they're almost out of comic stories. Because one thing I'll give Marvel credit for is they do definitely, and while they should definitely fucking pay more, Disney/Marvel Studios pulls from some of the more iconic story arcs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's still plenty of stories they could tell. I mean,
shit, they haven't even touched on the X-Men yet.
Yeah, and I always kind of wonder, like, do they just reboot or do they just do something completely new? Like what direction do they go? I'm super curious. I feel like everything since WandaVision on forward fans have been trying to see, like, is this where they work in mutants? I'm like, quit looking for it. Like,
it
quit
will
setting
happen.
it will happen. Quit creating expectation in your own mind that when then it doesn't happen, you get pissed about.
Yep.
You know,
I would say that when it happens, it'll be something that none of us saw coming.
yeah.
Yeah, probably. They're getting
Probably.
really good at that. So
Yeah.
and the misdirection.
I mean, I still think it's all going to change after Multiverse. That's where I think it really kicks in. Spider-Man and then Doctor Strange. Like, that's where shit gets fucking weird. And that's where all bets are then off.
I do know that the rumor mill is that starting with Spider-Man, some of the things are going to get weird already.
Yes. And like, well, okay.
The new the current rumor going around is Charlie Cox, John Bernthal, and Kristen Ritter are all involved.
Yeah. I think Bean would like an explanation.
Charlie Cox, I think, has been the longer of the rumors because apparently Peter Parker has his day in court after being outed as Spider-Man, and his representation is Matt Murdock.
Okay.
So he's literally playing like he's coming back to the role of Daredevil.
That's surprising because those all three of those shows got canceled. What felt like suddenly. It seemed to me like the shows were really popular and doing well. Like maybe not so much the Defenders and Iron Fist.
That's because Iron Fist is crap.
Yeah.
I really could take him or leave him. But
Jones was not a good he was not a good Danny Rand.
I had no context for it, but I wasn't invested in it. Like even before it came out, I was like, I don't know if I. Really
and I will say, in the performer's defense, it was officially noted that they basically had 2 weeks to practice fight scenes before Netflix was like, start filming. That sucks.
Actually, no. For me, in defense of the show, or to give the show a pass, I don't know. Again, like as the one person in this room, so to speak, who has the least amount of background knowledge on any of these characters ever as they have been ruling them out. Sometimes my opinion or my interest level is influenced by what other people who already know about it feel. And so I think more than likely I was not that interested in Iron Fist because it already came with a bunch of negative feedback or
we
input.
were already dragging it.
Yeah, kind of. Not that I'm like upset or whatever, but Luke Cage and oh my god, now I'm gonna blank on the other one. Kristen Ritter's show.
Jessica
Jones.
Yeah.
I loved those. Those were great. I love them. I always am a big fan of Kristen Ritter anyway, but those were good shows, and I thought that they were doing really well. And I did watch The Defenders, and I enjoyed that. And so I was surprised when they went away. All this to say, I'm that much more surprised that they're bringing the characters back in with the same actors.
I think that part of that was always the plan. I think that the problem inherent with the Netflix takes on all of those characters and Disney's ownership of Marvel is that how do you put Jessica Jones on Disney Plus?
She goes on Star, their offshoot of Disney Plus that has our stuff.
That has what?
Our stuff. Sorry, I bit my lip as I said stuff. I went surf.
R as an R-rated stuff.
As an R-rated, yeah.
Wait,
not our stuff.
You said Star. You mean like the pay cable network? Stars?
No, so Disney internationally, they have Disney Plus, and then they're launching called Disney. It's just called it's like Disney Star, or they just called Star. It's basically where all the R-rated Fox content is going to go.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah, and I guess for like US, so internationally, it's Star is a separate subscription. But in the US, basically in North America, it will be part of Disney Plus. You will confirm adults in your household, and that will activate, like, you'll have Disney Plus, and you'll probably see a thing that says like Star. You click on that, and it basically takes to all the it opens up Fox's library.
It's a parental control barrier.
Yeah, but also, like, Disney used to own Hollywood Pictures, which basically was their R division. So you might see old Hollywood picture stuff show up on Star, whatever. So
interesting.
Didn't they also have was it New Line? No,
Disney, it was Hollywood, and then Touchstone, which was their
Touchstone
was their PG-13. That's why
that was Splash, right?
It gave birth to Splash.
Okay,
because Splash is Disney. But when Disney showed a bare butt on a G-rated movie, which hilarious, it still got a G rating. People still freaked the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
You saw Daryl Hannah's butt for like a second as she comes out of the ocean. That gave birth to Touchstone, which is why technically Touchstone is, or Night Before Christmas is a Touchstone movie, not a Disney movie.
Right.
Yes. When the movie blew up and had a life, they got rid of Touchstone on the clamshell and made it Walt Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right. I vaguely remember it flip-flopping.
It's still in the credits. When you watch the movie, it's still the Touchstone logo still pops up.
Mm-hmm. Well, as a kid, we would have owned a copy in the house, and then I moved out. One day I'm like, I don't own this, and it's one of my favorite movies. I'm going to buy a copy for myself, and it says Disney, and I'm like,
yeah,
I remember that. That's weird. Okay.
Yeah.
That's where the disconnect is.
Also, people think that Tim Burton directed that movie, and he did not.
No,
that was Henry Selick.
Henry Selick, yes, but it's always Tim Burton's Night Before Christmas.
It's because he conceptualized it.
Mm-hmm.
He did.
But he is not a stop motion animation director. Henry Selick is.
Yeah.
And he went on to do James and the Giant Peach.
Wait, no,
which is a wonderful film.
Because he did Frankenweenie.
True.
That's 100% his. It's from film school. Maybe not film school, but it started out as an original short.
It did.
It was in film school. It was when he was in the California. He was in the California. Yeah, it was his school. He was the school.
I thought the feature length Frankenweenie was stop motion, and the original Frankenweenie that he did in college was live action.
Actually, Cable, you're right. The original one he did in college was live action.
You're right.
The one that became the Disney became the short was when he had graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you're totally right.
All of which to say is everything that he was doing at the time was still owned by Disney because he went to school at Disney.
The last thing he worked on was the Black Cauldron.
Oh, wow.
He was part of it?
He was in the animation studio because the Black Cauldron, if I remember correctly, was produced and visually by a certain person named Don Bluth, who had a huge falling out with Disney and formed his own animation company. And that's, everyone says like Tim Burton, Disney animation. Don Bluth is where Tim Burton cut his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fuck. You ever go back and watch them Don Bluth animation ones? You know, Secret of Nim.
Mm-hmm.
I love The Secret of Nim.
Yeah, but it's rough.
It's not super for kids.
No.
Not these days. It wouldn't these days it would not seem like an acceptable. Same for the book. Like these days it wouldn't, I don't know that people would be cool with giving it to their kids.
They should.
I mean, it's still better than giving them fucking Watership Down. Which is just 2 hours of slaughter. Bunny slaughter. So
who did The Rescuers?
The Rescuers,
Disney.
or is this Disney? Don Bluth is also All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, Land Before Time, that had
Mhm.
also one of the most traumatic scenes in cinema.
Mhm.
Fucking watch his mom die. I'm like, Jesus.
I've seen that since I was a
Rock-a-doodle-doo.
kid.
That shit's not off camera. Like, it's like front and center. It's not like it has a good sense of Bambi and kills mama off screen. They're like, no, we're gonna watch his mom get eviscerated. Granted, in silhouette, so for the kids. But here we go.
The kids.
Oh, she dies because she loves her kids so much she's willing to sacrifice herself. Enjoy that guilt.
Oh man,
Yeah, see?
makes me feel like Genny Karatovsky's Primal is a gritty reboot of The Land Before Time.
I gotta watch that show still before both of you kill me.
I've still
I'm
only
gonna kill
seen.
you. I'm just disappointed.
I've still
It's
only
worse.
seen what we
It's
saw
worse.
when we were at the coast.
It is not an easy watch. We only ever watch one episode at a time, and then it's a while before Christian's ready for another one.
It's fair.
I love dark sad stuff, so I would probably willingly watch it in one day, the whole 10
Mhm.
episodes. But I'm kind of alone in that.
Well, Bean, maybe one day we can all have a marathon of Grave of the Fireflies and then Requiem for a Dream.
Oh my god, Grave of the Fireflies. Oh, now that's
can
a
we-
fucking gut punch. Forget
Yep.
all
And
that
then to-
Don Bluth shit.
and then
Don
to have-
Bluth ain't got shit on fucking Miyazaki. God damn.
No. And then we'll wrap it up with a horror movie with the great uplifting ending of The Descent.
Yeah.
Only the UK version. Fuck the US cut.
Mhm.
Oh, she makes it out alive. Ow.
No, she doesn't.
Whatever.
She
No.
never made it out. Nobody made it
No.
out.
Nobody made it out. She just lasted the longest.
Mhm.
All right, what else we got tonight? Because we're getting close.
I think we're already past.
What did we? I think we.
Didn't you have something about Malone and magic?
I did, but these are things
No,
like
now my internet gives out. No.
oh no, is he frozen? It's frozen.
Who's frozen? Oh yeah, he's frozen.
Who's there?
Oh, there he is.
Right here,
Hey.
here. Bex mentions for
froze?
Don Bluth also
froze?
American Tail and Five Will Goes West.
Mhm.
Those are good ones. Although it's got a song you hate on there, if I recall, Gable.
Does it? What song?
Somewhere out there. Actually, that's probably not even what it's called, but that's
Wait, you hate that song?
somewhere out there.
Have I
Love
said?
can see us through.
I've never heard Cable mention that.
Yeah.
I forget why, but one day this was in the studio and it might have been a couple years, so it's kind of a shock that I remember. But for whatever reason, I was gonna start singing the song, and you were like, "No, do not do that. You absolutely shut me down, Cable."
That's a beautiful song.
I've never seen American Tail either.
I think what it is like you got it got like really like done to death by theater kids you used to know was the answer or the explanation for that. Maybe I made it up in a fever dream.
Bean, are you
Maybe,
just creating an alternate Cable?
because at the time that
Have
I
you?
was around theater kids was in high school, and there was none of this had even come out yet.
That's true. When did Five Will Goes West come out?
Like when I was in my
Nice.
mid-20s,
No.
1991.
early 20s.
That's Five Will Goes West? 91? I was thinking like 85.
No, it came out after I'd moved to Portland. I moved to Portland in 91. Hi. How are you? Hello, tiny dog.
I don't know. I think Bean, I think you're creating like a patchwork human of various people you know and even Canada in the last few years, and you're like, and I would name her.
Oh no, Irma, where'd
I
you
mean,
go?
I would name her Yolanda.
What?
And she shall be an amalgamation of all my friends.
We've established this. My brain lies to me.
I think it might be now.
No, I'll go ahead and I take it all back. None of that happened. Cable never shut me
a-
down in the studio for singing a cheesy song.
I may have. It may not have been that one, but something else that was that a
What?
Celine Dion song?
I don't think so.
Wait, Somewhere Out There? That's not
Yeah.
a Celine Dion song. No.
Didn't she perform it?
Well, not to my knowledge.
Like if you had started singing whatever song came from
Titanic.
yeah, that one.
Yeah,
That one I would have gone no.
I'd shut that down too.
Near,
I was
far,
I'm gonna say
Yeah, that one.
13. No, older. Because I remember other circumstances surrounding it. I was like 15 or 16 when that movie came out, and my friends were obsessed. And so, because everyone else was so obsessed with it, I saw that movie in the theater 4 times.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, which then led to my parents assuming that I was obsessed with the movie.
Sorry.
And so one day as a gift, I was given, you know how like magazines will occasionally put out like a really nicely bound, like heavy duty paper photo book. Yes, no, is this familiar to
Yes.
anyone? Of all Leonardo DiCaprio photos.
Uh-huh.
Like a fancy photo magazine of Leonardo DiCaprio.
Bex has provided some factual information. The original American Tail did come out in '86. I was still in high school. I was still around theater kids, so your memory may be accurate. Being,
I believe the first one is there are no.
That song was from
cats
Five
in
Goes
the-
West, which was the 91.
okay, well, if it is from Five Goes West, then no, I was already living here.
Well, now I have to Google that.
And yet you're still going to sing the song.
Well, that says it was released in 1999. So, and then
All right,
nope,
we should probably
American
we
Tail,
should probably
1986.
we should probably wrap up the show before this just devolves into more chaos.
And Google searching. Okay, no, the
Yeah.
song came out in 86 apparently with the first movie. So
Okay. Oh yeah.
I looked for that came out in '86, but it either isn't available or can't be played right
no one asked you, Google.
You did say Google.
Don't-
You said
Don't wake it up again.
And on that note, I am Aaron Duran. I have recently been airlocked from Thrawn's flagship, the Chimera. That's my airlock sound.
I'm Bina Rita, and I'm on my way to a remote island to secretly train with the Jedi Master.
And I am Darth Cabal. Still hanging out with these losers.
And we'll talk to everybody next week where this time 100% fucking confirmed we will have Greg and Anita on for building character. I do believe they will be talking about the Artificer.
Ooh.
Ooh, my.
I bet you that you and Greg will also have some thoughts because that'll
Oh
be
shit, yes we will.
the week before Von Richten's guide comes out.
I am reading everything and I will tell my shame next week of how many other Ravenloft things I've purchased.
Well, cool. That's a whole show.
Yeah, it is.
Homework done.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.